Hi lovelies, welcome back to Storybook TV. I'm really excited to sit down and talk to you. This is a video that I've been wanting to make for a while, and it's something that's really important to me. If you follow my social media, you know that for the last couple months, I'd say probably since last August, I started having some health issues. I talked about them a little bit, but long story short, I started to feel pretty unwell. I was tired all the time, even though I was getting plenty of sleep. My hair started falling out. That was really alarming. I also decided I finally needed to go to the doctor and let's try to see what was going on. When I got to the doctor, they did some blood work and I had all of these insane deficiencies. My thyroid wasn't working well. My hormones were extremely low, and it was just across the board. It was to the point where I was feeling so bad. I was literally telling the doctor, maybe you should check me for mono because I feel that bad. And so at that time, the doctors really started trying to see, okay, what is going on? Why is your hair falling out? And when I say it's falling out, I mean it was falling out in clumps. I'm gonna put some pictures up so that you can see what I mean when I say it was falling out. We're not talking just a little bit. We're talking about massive clumps of hair. I was getting extremely frantic. So once the doctor started going through, they wanted to put me on all of this medication. They wanted to put me on thyroid medication. They wanted to put me on hormone replacement therapy. And I was getting really worried. I didn't want to take all of that medication without knowing what was the root of the problem, what was going on. Well, long story short, thank goodness I didn't start on all that medication. I decided one day I happened to be talking to a friend of mine who works for a local genetic company. And after talking with him, telling him what my symptoms were and what was going on, he said, "You know what, Tori? I think you need to be tested for celiac disease." And I was like, "What? What is celiac disease?" I didn't even know what it was. I didn't think in any way possible it was something like celiac disease. But when your hair is falling out, you will try anything. You will do anything to make sure that your hair doesn't continue falling out. So I said, okay, tell me about it. I'm willing to try it. Let's do something. And luckily, he told me about this amazing company that's based right here in San Antonio, Texas. And it's a company called Targeted Genomics. So I am so excited to be working with them today to tell you a little bit more about my personal experience, because this is something that is very much a hidden epidemic. It's something that's not very educated on, and it's now something that's really important to me. So first, if you are like me and you're on the other side of this camera and you're saying, what is celiac disease? Celiac disease is an autoimmune disorder that causes an autoimmune reaction when you eat gluten. Okay, so what's gluten? Gluten is what is inside wheat, rye, barley, your breads, your pastas, all that type of thing. And what happens is when you ingest that, it can cause an autoimmune reaction, which it sounds pretty scary. But what it is it can cause a wide array of issues. And guess what? That was the issues that I was having. Everything from stomach issues to deficiencies to your hair falling out to feeling tired all of the time. All of these can be a direct reaction to myself ingesting gluten. So if you're having some of these symptoms, this is something that you might want to look into. The other thing that's really important to know about celiac disease is it's actually genetic. So no one in my family had ever been diagnosed, so I never thought that it would be any problem for me. Well, sure enough, thank goodness, I started working with Targeted Genomics because one of the great things about them is they have this, what this is, it's an at-home celiac disease test. And it's incredibly easy. In just a minute, I'm gonna walk you through it so you know what it is. I know a lot of tests that we worry about for things like this, you have to go get your blood drawn, you have to sit in the doctor for hours, and we just don't have time for that. I certainly don't have time for that. But this is great because they send it directly to your house. It's super easy to take. It's just a couple swabs inside of your mouth. You package it all back up, you mail it back, and then within a few weeks, you'll have your results so you know if you actually carry these genes. The other thing that's really great about this test is they show you, one, not just what genetics that you have in terms of if you carry these genes, but it also shows the scale. So having celiac disease, I've learned, is you can actually have a scale of the severity. So you may have something that's more of a gluten intolerance, where others on the very far side of the spectrum, you could even be hospitalized. We're gonna walk you through, I'm happy to show you what my results were. And I was on the high, I wasn't on the very highest, but I was towards the high part where I needed to remove gluten from my diet entirely. So what I wanna do now is I want to walk you through what's inside this test so you can see what it's like, because I know it can be a little bit intimidating for some people. The other thing that I want to mention is when I received the results back that I did have 2 genes for celiac disease, I was immediately concerned about my family, particularly my children. So obviously I knew that I had inherited it from somewhere. I didn't know exactly where, but I had a good idea of which members of my family I might have gotten it from, because based on their health and symptoms that I've seen them have. But I was also really worried about my children. Could this have been something that I had passed down to them? So at that time, I was also excited to do a full family test with Targeted Genomics. They mailed tests for all of my family. We did everyone from my grandfather, my grandmother, my mom, because I had a very good idea that it was coming from my maternal side of the family. And then they also did my husband and my children so that we could do a full family study to see where did this come from, how is this going through our family, and how can we better take care of our health. So now that you know all about this, let me show you what's in this box, and we're gonna bring in Luke. You all know Luke, my son, and he'll be our helper for today so I can show you how easy it is. Okay, so let me walk you through this box. Inside of the box, this will be mailed to you. Inside of the box, you'll have all of your instructions. So you're going to register your kit so you can get your results. And then it's these very simple steps to do this. No blood work, nothing like that. Inside of the box is going to be a bag, and it's going to have 2 swabs for you. You will complete the information with the person who you're swabbing, yourself, your child, your mother, whoever that is. And then you're going to swab the inside of their cheeks for about 10 seconds. So, Luke, are you ready? Can you tell everybody hello? All right, okay, here we go, buddy. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How did that feel?
Oh, it feels ticklish.
Does it tickle? That's right. So super easy. You're going to allow it to dry, and it tells you all of this here. So it's going to dry for a few seconds. Once you complete that amount of time, you're gonna close that up, put it into that bag. You're going to do the same thing with the other one, close it all up, seal it, and inside will be a pre-addressed and postage envelope that you can put all of this in. You'll send it right back in the mail, and you're done. Within a few weeks in your email, they will send you all of your results that will walk you through everything. So now let's look at those results. So what you're looking at right now on the screen is the results that I received from Targeted Genomics. You can very easily see right at the top that I tested positive for the 2 genetics that cause celiac disease. One of the great things about Targeted Genomics is they show you the scale that you have celiac disease in. So as you can see, I am in the moderate area and I needed to eliminate gluten from my diet. There are other levels of the scale. So for example, you might be on the lower end and you need to judge based on if you're symptomatic. And then there's also the elevated. If you are in the elevated, it is recommended that you eliminate gluten from your diet. Pay close attention to the symptoms that you're receiving. All right, so now you know all about targeted genomics. You know about the symptoms that I was seeing, how we tested my entire family. I'm very excited to tell you that both my boys did test negative. Thank goodness they didn't inherit my genes, they inherited my husband's. But we did find the genes all the way up through my grandfather, passed down to my mother, who is having a lot of health issues now. And then of course down to me. So since then and learning about these results, I have made some major changes in my life. I have eliminated gluten from my diet and it has been a game changer. My hair stopped falling out. I started feeling like myself again. I started having energy again and just feeling much better. All of a sudden, guess what? My blood results looked much better, and all of a sudden the doctor didn't need to prescribe me all those medications that they were trying to prescribe me. So if this sounds familiar to you, do these symptoms sound familiar to you? If they do, I highly recommend visiting Targeted Genomics website. It's targeted-genomics.com. We'll go ahead and put it on the screen here for you. This is something, it's a test that's great for families. It was so incredibly easy. You saw me do it with my 7-year-old. I also did it with my 3-year-old. He thought it was a game. It was very easy. We had our results very quickly. So it truly has made a difference in my life. And that is why this was really important to me to talk to you about. So if you have any questions, please do feel free to comment below. I'm happy to answer them. Again, visit targeted-genomics.com to learn more. And thank you so much for stopping by. Please feel free to click that thumbs up button or subscribe. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.